We got to talk about the Detroit Pistons. When we talk about two ways for them to contend, we're talking about not contending for a title. We're talking about contending for playoff spots. We're talking about contending to just be relevant.
Contending to not be the worst team in the league.
Yes. And that's when we talk about the Pistons, that's what's important.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
So, I have three things, but we'll merge them into two. Number one is find an identity. Because even for a young team, I think it's still important to kind of at least have some bit of a clue into what somebody could become. Like covering the Hornets, I know that we're a run and gun offense, that pushing the ball in transitions, which is the case for most young teams, is going to be the most success or how we could generate the most points on offense. Right. And then get back on defense. Like, I look at Detroit and I don't know what I'm looking at. And I'm a little confused. Yeah. And I'm going to merge 3 into 1 here. I think that has to start with Cade Cunningham. Having
the center of all of it.
This great, number one pick a few years back, right? He missed the season due to an injury, but he kind of came back strong, played 60-plus games. Like, you're the guy that has to set the tone. I know there's Jaden Ivey. I know there's Jalen Duren and whatnot and all these different young pieces, but set the tone. Like, you want to be the guy? You want us to talk about you like one of these relevant number one picks? Like an Anthony Edwards or Apollo the last few years? Step up. Show us that you're all on these guys' level because, hey, they're not that much older than you. If you want to have a seat at the table, being the face of the league, that's what you got to do.
Absolutely.
Secondly, establish these veteran roles ASAP because I don't love Tobias Harris being in Detroit. I don't love Evan Fournier.
I'm sure Pistons fans don't love him being in Detroit either.
No, not at all. Evan Fournier being in Detroit. And Tim Hardaway Jr., these are 3 guys that I know despite what the type of season Tobias Harris had in Philly last year, he could be on a playoff contender. He's another guy that could have ended up in San Antonio and potentially had a solid impact. Evan Fournier could be a shooter somewhere. Tim
Hardaway Jr. was just in the finals.
Yeah, so I don't really love the offseason signings, but I get having good veterans in the locker room is important for young players. So I'm kind of hoping that, they're able to pass off some wisdom. So establish roles quickly. Show that you can still play, maybe get traded, move midseason, or if you're going to be a building block for the team in the future. I just need to see it as soon as possible. But those are my 2.
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, the Detroit Pistons, what are they doing out in the East? It's like they're constantly at the bottom of the barrel. They're not getting number one picks. Cade Cunningham, of course, they got him, but it seems like the last 2 years they've been the worst team or one of the worst teams and get stuck with the 5th pick. So it's like you need to start. It also starts with the coaching too. It's like they're constantly bringing in new coaches, letting them go. It's like you got to build consistency. You got to create an identity, a culture with the coach and stuff. So you got to lay off of firing guys, give them chances. And have the guy work with Cade and stuff like that, and figure out ways of how he can lead the team, create identity that way. Guys like Tobias Harris, Fournier, Tim Hardaway Jr., they're going to start the season in Detroit. They might not even make it to halfway through the season.
I hope not.
It's just I get what they're doing. They need to bring in a mix of veterans so they can, have some sort of structure there. They can, rely on these veterans to score. If the young guys, they're going through growing pains, whatever. We could probably have listed a few things that they need to do to become contenders. But yeah, I mean, I agree. That's kind of the structure. That's kind of the big ones right there.
Thinking about it now that you just kind of said it, maybe these 3 guys, the 3 veterans that they did sign, could have been one of those agreements where it's like, hey, play yourself up, play well enough, we can move you.
Take the value up, and we can, because I mean, hey, if Tobias Harris plays well, I know he's making $26 million, plays well, there might be a contender or a fringe team that's like, hey, we'll give you a pick for him or whatever. And for the Pistons, it's like, what do we got to lose? So